Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm Diana Brodeen. I'm the Assistant Director of the Foil and Specialty Effects Association, and I am the Managing Editor of Post Press Magazine. I'm here today with Rick Salinas, the Vice President of Marketing for Duplo, and we're going to have a chat today about what's going on with the industry and how Duplo is responding to all of the fun conditions that we're dealing with now in print and print finishing. Good morning, Rick. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited that you guys are able to join us. You're a big supporter of the first ever FSEA online learning experience, and we really appreciate that.
Well, yeah, we were really looking forward to it. So obviously things have to change. So hopefully this will be a unique opportunity for people to still get that necessary information that everybody's looking for.
Absolutely. We have a lot of great content lined up.
Yeah.
So glad that you're here. So as we are looking at all the ways COVID-19 has changed the industry, what is Duplo doing to assist with your customers and your prospects to make sure they're ready to react?
Well, we've spent the last 3 months, obviously our sales team and our support team hasn't been able to travel. So we've created a series of webinars. We've been trying to put them out every couple of weeks, giving our dealers and our partners content on new products and new ways of doing things that, hopefully can help them once we get out of this. And I should even say get out of this, because many of them are utilizing the strategies and the new ideas of ways to help customers now. And we've been seeing a lot of uptick in sales because of the new things.
Well, that's terrific. It's good to
Yep.
see kind of forward momentum happening then.
Right. Yeah. Over the course of the last 3 months, we've presented to over 900 people.
Wow, that's terrific.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the office or they're home and they've got time to look around.
Yes.
See what's available right now.
Exactly.
So obviously cost pressures are going to begin to increase, so they're going to be a bigger factor as people are looking at adding enhancements to print. So
Right.
what investments should people be looking at making right now?
People got to look at everything now. Obviously, this gives you the time to look at everything. Customers need to look from when a job enters the facility all the way to the time it leaves the back door. What steps can they, eliminate redundancies? When can they eliminate touch points? COVID-19 has changed everything as far as social distancing. So, this idea, and I used to walk through shops where you'd see a table and see people walking around or walking past each other, working in tight quarters. Well, that all has to change, and people need to figure out how do we change our workflow and change the way a job flows through our facility to make this, a process where things can travel without having those touch points or those interactions. And what a lot of people are finding, if you take the time and do it effectively, you can really drive a lot of costs out of the way you've been doing things. And for the last 10 years, people didn't do it because what they were doing worked. It was kind of like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So people were making their margins and things were humming along just fine. So people didn't take the time to look at the processes of the way they were doing things. And now, kind of by force, they have to. So it creates an opportunity.
It's kind of like you said with the sales calls. You've completely reimagined the way you've reached out to your customers and your prospects, the same way that the FSEA had to reimagine our conference. We're all learning a little bit better to be more efficient because no choice in this weird little time period we're in. So as our finishing partners go out to their print partners, adding value to print is going to be critical going forward. And profitability margins are going to be really important for both sides of the print equation. So what can Duplo offer to assist those who are really looking at making sure they're tight on their profitability margins?
Yeah, I guess, and I spent a lot of time thinking about this obviously we've all had time to think over the last 3 months, but things are going to change. I live outside of Dallas, Texas, so we were one of the first areas to open up. And my first visit to a restaurant, it was very eye-opening. So it was a restaurant that I frequented often, but first thing when you walked in, there was no menu. It was like when they sat you down, it was like, well, what happened to the menu? Well, they handed you a piece of paper now with a disposable menu that was
Right.
one time you used it and then it was thrown away. You know, learning and starting up again, that worked. But you know, when we get the 50%, 75%, 100%, is it really going to be feasible for a restaurant to throw away 500 pieces of paper, you know, 11 by 17 a day?
Right.
No.
It's not cost
So
effective.
they're going to have to think of new ways to do it. What can you do? You know, we have offer laminators. That's something that you might see completely explode, where people can now laminate that, you know, completely encapsulate an invitation or a menu, and then once they're done, take it back, stack them, disinfect them, and reuse them. You know, to save that cost. So that's something that you could see easily explode. And now you can do it. You know, soft touch laminates can be utilized to create a tactile experience that people are like, wow, this is really kind of cool. So you can create a different experience. Raise UV, you can do it all while you can seal the sheet for protection and be able to clean it. I've actually just saw a company, we offer flood UV coaters as well to eliminate, you know, the cost of lamination. That's even an alternative. We're talking with a company now that makes an antibacterial flood coating that you can apply. So these are things, you know, a year ago, I had never even heard of that. But, you know, this type of situation has really changed the way everybody has to think. So will printing exist? Absolutely. Will printing change? Absolutely. So now it's time that people have to look at talk to their customers regularly. So ask them what's changing in their shop. How are they attacking these different issues, and how can they help? Obviously, customers are going to look for partners who can help them control costs, help them, you know, get back into this as cost effectively as possible. So more than ever, you know, printers and service providers have to be, you know, a customer agent. You can't think that you're just going to sit back and they're going to come to you. You have to go out there and offer these solutions of how to be able to do that. And I think that that's going to be really key going forward, especially in the next 6 to 8 months.
Right. Well, and just if we think about it, what a great opportunity for some of our print finishers who are struggling to get business into their shops right now, to go to some of their print partners and say, you know, create some fake menus, these options, and say, we need to go out together and let's go talk to some of the restaurants in the area, especially the higher end restaurants that are looking to do experience.
Absolutely. You know, and after I saw that disposable menu, I go, you know what? This printer probably got excited that he got an order for 500, you know, color prints, and he was completely short-sighted. He probably got, you know, 6 cents a sheet for that, where if he would have offered a soft touch laminate where he can create an experience, or maybe even put a spot UV and they can reuse these, they probably could have gotten 10 times that amount.
Absolutely.
So you got to be thinking, you know, how can I add value to this to capitalize on what, you know, on getting this order, especially as his orders are going to be slow to uptick. You got to be able to maximize the opportunities.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of opportunity right now because everyone's scrambling to understand the best way to address some of these things. And our print finishers, they've got the solutions. They just aren't packaging them quite yet.
No, absolutely. You know, kind of thinking on that same thing. How many times have you walked into the store now and you see the social distancing stickers on the ground, you know, stand here? Every time I see one of those in a single color that just say stand here, I want to rip my hair out, and it's just a square. I'm like, what the opportunity have you missed here? You could have sold that as an arrow to upsell that. You could have put multicolors on that. You could have put advertisements on that. You know, social distancing this way, but in this aisle we have, and you could have had an advertisement for a product that you could have sold that customer. Absolutely. All these missed opportunities that people are doing it just because they're so hungry for the business, but you got to be able to look at what opportunities can I take advantage of while I'm doing this.
People are reacting very quickly without thinking about it from a marketing standpoint.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's not just about the opportunities. It really is about the workflow, being part of understanding the profitability margins. So how should those with post-press operations really evaluate the workflow in their facilities?
That is probably what I've been trying to harp on the most. You know, with social distancing inside the shop, being able to manage your facility as efficiently as possible to eliminate those touch points are what's going to create those what I would probably say possibility for problems would probably be the best way to say it, where you're going to have those forced interactions that aren't necessary. If, you know, on our spot UV coater, on our slitter cutter creaser line, on our die cutter, we've partnered with EFI and job flow. So a customer, we can automate the whole process from pre-press, where a single, you know, one PDF can come in, all the imposition can be done automatically through job flow. It sends the cut information or the spot layer file or the die cut information to one of our devices and applies the barcode right to the machine. So from pre-press all the way to finishing, everything's automated. The press operator can just take it out of the machine, drop it right into one of our slitter cutter creasers. It reads the barcode, downloads the cut information to the machine. Machine is fully operational to process the whole, let's say 24 full bleed business cards. Nobody's there. You've just eliminated that whole process. And then it can go, you know, some of these processes can go all the way to finishing, where it generates a shipping label. I mean, so when you think about that, how much of that labor have you driven out of the whole process? How many of those touch points have you eliminated? And some of these, you know, features and benefits in the job flow and in your EFI RIPs are already there. These people have it. They just need to figure out how to utilize it best in their facility. So you got to take the time to educate yourself.
Right. Well, and that's a big component of profitability right now, because maybe you've got operators who aren't able to come in for certain.
Yes.
Or I've seen some facilities that are running a third of their workforce for certain hours, a third for another certain hours, and a third later. So you need to be profitable with fewer people within a certain time period, or if they're running 3 shifts suddenly,
Yep.
or 2 shifts, because they can't get their people in. So absolutely, those little tricks.
Yeah, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying even you have to remove people, but you can repurpose them, and sometimes you can find better utilization of your human resources to maximize the way a job flows through the shop. And like I said earlier when we first started, the biggest problem was things were when the job was full and you were at 80% of utilization, you didn't have to worry about this. But now that you have this time, I hope that people have taken the time to do that. If you haven't, you know, use those resources with EFI or with your print partner or with Duplo. You know, all of our regional sales directors, we've spent months working and, you know, thinking about this. So
Right.
You have resources in your partners who, you know, these people, not only Duplo, but on the press side or on the pre-press side, you know, have this experience. We see hundreds of shops. We see things you might not even have thought of. And almost always they're willing to come in and help you look at what you're doing and look at your process and how you can improve it.
Well, perfect. So talking about improvements. So our embellishments are an improvement to every piece of print that is heading out the door for print partners. So as we come out of the slowdown that's been caused by COVID-19, how do we sell that? Why is embellishment more important than ever?
It's more important than ever because, I mean, people, obviously, especially being trapped in your house, you don't have that interaction with people anymore. People are craving, I mean, that's why you see people wanting to get out. That's why you see people, I don't know if you've been in a Walmart or you don't even find a bicycle because people are looking for those experiences. And embellishment gives you that tactile experience. Study after study. I mean, you can't pick up a trade magazine without an article in it about embellishment. Why? Because it works. You know, study after study have shown when you engage multiple senses, you know, eyes, smell, touch, the retention rates skyrocket. You don't get that on a screen looking at a product or, you know, flipping through a web page. You know, I've always talked about one study that showed that the average, and I bet you it's 10 times higher than that right now, that the average American between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. who utilizes their cell phone regularly sees between 1,000 and 4,000 ads per day. So by lunchtime, that means you might have seen 2,000 ads. I've asked people numerous times, tell me one ad you remember, you know, when it's around lunchtime. Almost never do I get somebody to pick up a hand. So what kind of, you know, how valuable was that inexpensive ad online if nobody remembers it?
Exactly.
You know, a tactile experience shows those response rates, sometimes as high as 10%. So the cost may be a little, you know, more expensive in the beginning, but when you're getting 10 times, 20 times, 30 times the response rates, it easily shows what you can do.
Absolutely.
And another way that I was discussing with someone is brand recognition. That's something that people don't even realize with embellishment. When you get these industries, like the marijuana industry is a perfect example.
Oh,
You have
absolutely.
these, CBD oil, marijuana, all of these brands exploded onto the market, hundreds of them. And they're all over the country in all these shops. A consumer walks in, looks at the shelf, and has no idea which one's a good one, which one's a bad one.
Because there's no brand recognition at all for the industry. There's not.
Exactly. That's
That
why
was
you
a
see
century.
that industry using foil, soft touch, ray spot UV, highlight colors, fluorescence. They attack embellishment. Why? Because they know that they got to get somebody to pick up their box. And
Right.
usually the one that grabs a person's eye who has no brand recognition, usually the one they grab first is the one they're walking out the store with. It's proven in the wine industry as well. Most of the time people buy wine because of the label. Because very few people know, there's 100 different wines when you go in to look at just your Cabernets. You don't know which one. So which one draws your attention? Which one has that water droplet off of the edge, or, it has a strong gold foil, and studies have shown that that they've put non-brands next to known brands and created a very high-end embellished piece, and people select the non-brand over the name brand. And when they ask people why, they're saying, well, it looked more expensive. So they created value out of nothing.
Right. The FDA actually has 2 different studies that we have done with the Sunoco Institute out of Clemson about the presence of the shelf presence that a foiled package adds to. We used, I think the last one was coffee pods, Keurig coffee maker, and our pretend brand was beating out the name brands like Folgers and Keurig, and it was very, very good information for our industry.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely, because you created value, or perceived value. That's probably a better word for it. You created perceived value, and that's huge for a brand, especially in a competitive market. And when you can show those studies to customers, it makes it very easy. And when you see the margins that are made on embellished piece, when the industry standard in the printing industry is like a 3% margin. When you can get an embellished piece where those margins sometimes, perfect example, you don't even have to trust me. Go on any one of the big web printers, order a business card that's $10 and add spot UV or foil, and watch what that price goes to. It'll go from $10 to as high as $100. Same paper, same press. All you did is add a low-cost embellishment to it and tripled, quadrupled, up to 10 times your margin.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
really, for people to succeed in the next 5 years, embellishment has to be a part of your solutions. It has to be.
Agreed. And luckily, you have an association right here.
Yes, exactly.
To help out with the promotion of those embellishments. So,
Yep.
Rick, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. We're so excited about the FSE online learning experience, and we're glad Duplo's been a part of it. So you have a great day. And
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.